Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. It's not the morning show because it wasn't going to be the morning show because we did Romano last night and I wanted people to be able to get the full time to watch that interview. If you've not seen it, the link it's on the homepage. What a fantastic interview it was. We covered literally every bit of transfer news there could be with Fabrizio Romano. So check that out on the homepage. But this morning, we're going to be talking about Ole Gunnar Solskjaer with his own words, talking about needing 3 signings to close the gap on those teams above him. Also, Marcus Rashford dropping a little bit of a potential warning to United. Basically saying never say no to leaving United. We'll talk about that. Midfield situation with a midfielder from Monaco. I cannot pronounce his name, so if anyone wants to help me with that, we'll be talking about that. Interesting with that as well. Outgoings, Ollie spoke about that. And also the centre-back situation with Torres. Pau Torres looks like it's developing. So lots and lots to get involved with. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Also, can I just say a very big shout out to Boohoo Man, who are sponsoring the show for us today. As they have done in the past, today's show is supported by Boohoo Man. And as you all know by now, Boohoo Man have entered the activewear market in a big way. That is why they've got me to promote the brand new active collection from Boohoo Man. Personally, I can see why they chose me because I'm a very active person and I've got the peak physical condition, as many of you can see here, with absolutely no back pain at all. Seriously though, the new active range is great, and if you want something different and very reasonably priced to wear at the gym or at Power League or even on the golf course, then head over to Boohoo Man now and check out what they've got to offer. I'm wearing some of their stuff right now. Got the zip up top, and I've also got one of these bodywear things as well, because I'm going to be going on a little bit of a run after this. As always, you can take advantage of the amazing 40% discount that you can now get through the United Stand, and it's exclusive to the United Stand viewers by clicking the link in the description and using the code United Stand at checkout. Thank you very much to Boohoo Man for supporting the channel as always. We really appreciate it. And as I said, you can check it out through the link in the video description and use the code United Stand 40%. Lots and lots of good activewear you can get hold of. Links in the video description for that. Right, let's get on with the show. Let's go on with the show. So I want to start off with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer yesterday in his press conference saying that he wants 2 or 3 more players to challenge those that are still that are above us. We're still too far behind those teams, and we need to strengthen with a few. This is coming from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. I like this. I think people want to dwell on the negative, and I know he said yesterday that about the protests. He didn't like the protests for the Liverpool postponement. The other ones went okay. Well, of course the other ones went okay because they didn't disrupt anything. So Solskjaer, of course, is going to prefer those sort of things because basically it's just people making noise outside, not really making any difference, is it? So, you know, people choose to jump on Solskjaer for that, but he is an employee of the Glazers. I choose to focus on the positive, and the positive is that Solskjaer is basically talking for the fans or anybody who understands United when he comes out and says that we need 2 or 3 players to close the gap on those above us. The gap is too big and we're not where we want to be. Coming out and saying that is really, really important because he could come out and say, you know, we've got a good squad. We've grown again from last year. We've gone from 3rd to 2nd. We're growing as a team. I'm happy with what I've got. Bullshit. That's not what we're at. We know we need to add players, and we will be adding players this summer. Whether you pick that up from the Romano interview or anywhere else, we will be adding players this season. 2 or 3 players sounds promising. It needs to be 3. It cannot be 2 or 3. It needs to be 3. It needs to be a centre-back, a CDM, and I think a right winger. But we must get those 3 players. And if he adds those 3 players to his squad this summer, then Solskjaer's done about as much as he can hope to do this summer. Yes, we want major change at the club. Yes, we want reform. Yes, we want, you know, fans more involved in the club. And yes, we want the Glazers out. But if you approach this summer in a pragmatic way, you know, yeah, I'd love to see United selling 6 players and buying 6 players. I think that's the sort of shake-up it really needs. That's the sort of reform it really needs. But in a realistic sense, what can Solskjaer do to keep his job and grow on what he's done next year? Because there are genuine concerns amongst the fan base that we've overachieved this year, that Liverpool are a club that are only going to be about 5 points behind us and they've had a crap season. All they need is a few players back and I think they'll go past us again, down to 3rd. Chelsea, again, half a crap season. A full good season under Tuchel, I think they'll go past us. So how, you know, it's not about closing that gap to Man City. It's about how we keep up with our rivals. And Solskjaer is right. We need 2 or 3. In fact, we need 3 players to come in. So I'm encouraged by Solskjaer saying that because there's a lot, look, whatever you feel about United at the moment, there's a lot of public statements about signing players. And I think it's very, very clear that United will sign players. It's just about whether we buy the right players. Also, just to add it in here, just in the context of Harry Kane, I'm not talking about Harry Kane today. I think that Harry Kane needs to be parked as a United player. He's not going to become a United player unless we do something ridiculous, which I think it would be ridiculous in many ways. Ridiculous fee. Do we need that type of player? Blah, blah, blah. But what Harry Kane has done as a Spurs player who is loyal to Spurs has said, I've got to be loyal to me now. I've got one career. I want to go and play and win trophies elsewhere. Well, Marcus Rashford's done quite an extensive interview in the last few hours. And in that he said, never say never. Never say no about leaving Manchester United. Obviously, he wants to stay at Manchester United, but he's shown an admiration for Real Madrid and Barcelona. And can I just say for a minute, why does everybody show an admiration for Real Madrid and Barcelona? All my bloody life, all I've ever Ronaldo, as a boyhood Real Madrid fan. Can some great players at some point just have an admiration for Man United? I've always wanted to play for Man United because I always want to play for Real Madrid or Barcelona. I tell you what, Real Madrid and Barcelona, they're just Chelsea with hot weather. That's all they are. I mean, they're not. What's so great about Real Madrid and Barcelona? If we had a hot climate, I think Manchester United would be fine, but. Jokes aside, Rashford's mentioned never say no, and he's mentioned Real Madrid and Barcelona. This is not the headline Rashford wants to leave United. It's very, very far from that. It's an open, honest conversation from a young, talented footballer. But I think what it really is a warning that Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, which we're going to see this summer, Marcus Rashford, these players at Manchester United that we idolise and appreciate and totally know are talented, they won't be here forever if this regime doesn't reform. Because we will end up with Rashford in the next 5 years doing a Harry Kane and saying, I want to go to a club where I can win the major trophies. I think I can win a Champions League. I think I can win a Premier League. And if he can't be provided that platform at Manchester United, and look, search your heart, search your soul, and when you find me there, you'll search no more. But no, search yourself. Not literally, obviously that would be ridiculous, but if you search your feelings in relation to Manchester United, do you think we're close to winning a Premier League title? Do you think we're close to winning a Champions League? I don't. So why would a Marcus Rashford or a Bruno Fernandes not say in a few years' time, I want to win things. I love this club. And I think that's what we're seeing with football now. Love and loyalty to a football club is all good and well when that love and loyalty is shown back. Has Manchester United shown love and loyalty to its players as a brand? No, I don't think it has. Roy Keane stayed at United. He very nearly went to Juventus but we showed him the money and we showed him the platform to showcase his talents. Paul Scholes was here all his career. Ryan Giggs was here all his career. Would Paul Scholes and Ryan Giggs stay at Manchester United for their whole career in this current climate? No, I don't think they would. I think they'd give it as long as they could, but I think they'd hit 25, 26 and they'd go, look, this club is not going to be where I need to be. I've got to move. So that's the warning with somebody like Marcus Rashford. It's like, well, I think he's very committed to Manchester United. I really do. But it's a warning that, no player should stay here forever. It's the Harry Kane situation. Why should he stay at Spurs through loyalty when that club's not showing him the loyalty to win trophies? So, bit different at United though, because United should be winning trophies, and the club is run badly. But I agree with Rashford. Never say no. I don't think it's set in stone that Mason Greenwood and Marcus Rashford will retire at United. I hope they do, because they'll probably both beat Wayne Rooney's record. But not that I want Rooney's record to be beaten, but if they stay that long, I think that they probably will. So look, let's go back to what Solskjaer said about players coming in. Last night there was a story about Pau Torres from a local journalist close to Villarreal talking about Manchester United making a move. Now, United definitely want a top-class centre-back. I think for me, the three choices that, unless Koulibaly comes into the equation, it's Varane, it's Koundé, and then you're dropping down to third choice Torres. And he will be third choice. And the reason I don't want Torres is because I think he's got the potential to be a good player. I mean, I bow down to greater knowledge on this, and to be honest, we're all going to get the knowledge on Wednesday night because we're playing Pau Torres. It's going to be very interesting to, control your emotions enough to keep an eye on Torres in a game where we're hearts pumping because we want to win a trophy. But it's probably going to be the first time I've watched Torres properly in about 8 months. So I'm looking forward to it in that sense. But for me, the reason I don't want Torres is because I want Solskjaer to be given first tier, second tier signings, because I don't think he's a first or second tier manager. I still think he's a manager on the move. He's a progressive manager, but he's not in the same sentence as an Ancelotti or a Klopp or a Pep. Maybe not even a Tuchel at the moment. So you can't give a manager that's not on that level players that are not top level players. And this is where the board has continued to fail over the last 10 years. They don't deliver the manager the top tier signings. So I want Varane or I want Koundé, because I think if you get Torres, it's an exciting signing, but he's a third choice signing. He could be great. You know, he could be a Ruben Diaz. On the other hand, he could be a Gabriel. And dreams don't always come true. So we'll have to see what happens with that. But definitely noise around Torres. Romano said it last night, and obviously now Spanish reports are saying it. So Pau Torres is an interesting one. I would hope we can still get Varane or Koundé, but we'll have to see. Well, that's all well and good, but do you know what a ferret... No, I don't, Martin Watters. And must be a strong coffee, that, Mark. You're on it this morning, says Nick. And it's probably because it's a little bit of a later show. I normally do these at 10 o'clock. Finally, a big player from the club comes out and warns the board. Never understood the ambition of these players. I would never be satisfied with the ambition of this regime. Cash can't be everything, says DK. Well, I don't want to rock DK, but I want to say this, DK. Manchester United will not keep people like Rashford, Greenwood, Fernandes, all their careers, or even their prime years, in its current state. This club... If I was Rashford, if I was Greenwood, if I was Bruno, I'd be like, I'm giving it 2, maybe 3 years, and then I'm off. You don't need to be a genius to know the cycle of United. New manager comes in, money gets spent, you get in the Champions League, money doesn't get spent, new manager gets sacked. It's about a 3-year process. Ollie's coming up for 3 years. Ollie's got Champions League football. Realistically, if you go off the last 8 years, Solskjaer will fail next season, get sacked, and a new manager will come in and the cycle will start again. If I was Rashford, if I was Greenwood, if I was Bruno, I'd be watching the next 12 months very attentively. If Solskjaer's sacked in the next 2 months and another great new manager comes in, I'd be off ski. I'd say, I'm off. You carry on with your project. I've seen enough cycles at this club to say I ain't waiting around for another 3 years. I'm off. So it's very interesting. I don't want Solskjaer gone in the next year because I think the cycle continues. But I think players will wake up and they will go, look, I'm not being part of this cycle anymore. I've got a career. I can't keep going round and round in circles with this board. So it'd be interesting how it goes. But yeah, I think Torres is an interesting one. I mean, I'm not going to say that we're going to sign Torres. I still believe the conversation last night, and you can check it out on the homepage with Romano, is the relevant one. I don't think United have finalised what's going to happen with the centre-back yet. But I certainly think you can't discount a Torres. I think it's unfair to call Torres a Spanish Lindelof. The only thing I see about him and Lindelof is that maybe they've got similar cheekbones, but I don't think that they're similar. One's a left back, one's tall. One's good in the air, one's not. One's quite quick, one's not. Physicality, Torres and Lindelof, I haven't seen enough of Torres. On the ball, probably about the same, but I don't think they're the same sort of player. Of course, they might have the same trajectory as a player. They come in, don't do particularly well, but they're okay. We need a world-class player next to Harry Maguire. That's why we need a Varane, but let's see what happens. I need some help with this one. I want to talk about the centre defensive midfield, because the overarching thing here is that Solskjaer says he needs 2 or 3 players. We're not going to go on about Sancho massively today because we know that's the priority. It's pretty much set in stone. Doesn't mean we're going to get him, but he is the priority. Centre-back, yeah, definitely a priority. And I think you can go Sancho, a centre-back, pretty much nailed on. We will get those 2 positions in unless the Sancho deal falls apart. So I'm thinking Sancho, a centre-back that we don't know at the moment. And then the third signing should be a centre defensive midfielder. Now, it's interesting because Chelsea have been linked with, and I'm going to absolutely destroy this, so thank you anyone in the live comments who can let me know. Chelsea are after Aurelien Tchouameni from Monaco. He's 21 years of age, and he looks really exciting. Nick says, what team is going to have the best summer in terms of transfers, Mark? Also, big up to Flex having me on live last week. Proper enjoyed it on Insta. Thanks, Nick. I think Chelsea will have the biggest window, really. I mean, United might have the biggest window, but I think Chelsea will. Shobbit's new here. What's up? What's up, Shobbit? Yeah, I think I've messed his name up, but Chouamini says Ihab. Chouamini. 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 Happy birthday to George Best, says DB Cooper. Legend. Yeah, happy birthday to George Best. Obviously, rest in peace. He won't be celebrating it on this mortal coil, or whatever they call it, but a legend up there with many other legends. And what a player George Best was. Birthday today. Chouamini, then, is a player that is at Monaco. He's 21 years of age, and he's a player that Chelsea are interested in. And he is a centre defensive midfielder. 2 things I would say about this. Godolph says my 3 signings would be Godfrey, Rice and Rafinha. Good luck with that. I don't think you would get that. Super Chat's now available in Nigeria, says Anthony. There you go. I didn't know that. Thanks, Anthony, and welcome to the Nigerian crew. Rest easy, George, says Footpit. Yep. I remember that day when George Best died. Absolutely cried at night on my own. What a player. And I never got to see him play. You just don't need to see people like that play. You know the importance of them in the game for Manchester United. What a legend. But Tchouaméni is a player that Chelsea have been linked with for quite a while. He's a Monaco CDM. He's playing in the cup final next week against PSG, actually. And they've got an outside chance, I think, of winning the French league. But he's had an amazingly good season. He's only been there about just over a year, 18 months. And Chelsea have been linked with him for quite a while. Now, there's two things to this. First of all, if Chelsea get him, Declan Rice is open. And United like Declan Rice. So that's quite interesting. But also, I would also say, and I've got to bring this in here. Why are Manchester United not in for Tchouaméni? Like, why are we not looking at a player like that? Because Camavinga, Tchouaméni, I don't know why it's Samari who's going to Leicester, Ndidi went to Leicester, Kante went to Leicester. I wonder why Manchester United's scouting network is not good enough or not trusted enough to go and get those types of players, because we've always been very good at that. We've always been very good at getting Ronaldo, Roy Keane, Paul Ince. You go back through the years. Players that are young but have that potential to explode. And look, Declan Rice is that sort of player. He's only 21, 22 himself. But it's interesting because I was sort of having a bit of debate with some Chelsea fans this morning, and they were like, well, you can have Declan Rice. We'll get Tchouaméni in for 35 million. You spend 70 million on Declan Rice. He's not double the player Tchouaméni is, and we'll take that. And I thought, you know what? They've got a very good point. They have got a very good point on that. But look, I think the most important thing is that we see Manchester United getting linked to centre defensive midfielders. We've not been linked to Basuma, as Romano said last night. We're not linked with Tchouaméni. We weren't linked with Samari. And Declan Rice is a player we admire. There are 4 centre defensive midfielders there of varying prices, but of exciting talent. Why are we not looking at those sort of players? We should sell Fred to fund a centre defensive midfielder and keep Matic. Matic has an impact as a leader in the team, good relationship with Cavani, and be mentor for incoming CDMs, says Zidane. Well, it's interesting, Zidane, because Ole Gunnar Solskjaer did actually say yesterday in his interview, and there's still a few things I want to discuss that, especially about Maguire. He said, we're looking to add a couple of players in. We're still too far behind those above us, but I can't see too many outgoings. That terrifies me, that Solskjaer can't see too many outgoings, because I don't need to name names, but I will. Lingard, one of the goalkeepers, Matic, Mata, Pereira, Dalot. That's 6. That's 6 outgoings that need to happen this summer. I can't see Phil Jones, 7. I can't see too many. I can't see too many. Well, I can see 6 or 7. So if Ole Gunnar Solskjaer saying I can't see too many going, well, what? 1 or 2 are going. That means you could still start next season with 2 goalkeepers. Juan Mata, Nemanja Matic, Andres Pereira. We need to see mass exodus of ruthless. We need to be ruthless. That's not what we need to see. So I'm a little bit worried by that. Encouraged that he's saying we need to bring 2 or 3 players in, but we've got to get rid of a lot of players as well. Really good point here from Joa. He says Romano kind of explained the reason for United's on-the-fence behaviour in the transfer market on the show yesterday. Manchester United play the waiting game, waiting for other people to show their hands. And I think, Romano's right about that, and we've spoken about it many times ourselves, haven't we? We do sit on the fence in relation to players. We do sit back and wait and see what's going to happen. And it's very, very clear. I think the bottom line with United at the moment is this. We want Sancho, we want a centre-back. We're not going to buy a midfielder until we know what's happening with Pogba. Which means we're going to be doing a lot of waiting around this summer. Sancho's a deal that's not going to happen quickly. A centre-back is a deal that's not going to happen quickly unless we go for the third foot choice and just give up on Varane and Koundé. If you go for Varane or Koundé, you're going to be waiting a while because they're both in the French national squad for the Euros, as is Paul Pogba. We're going to be waiting a while on that. Sancho's going to be in the Euros as well. So I think this summer's going to be a long waiting game, and I guarantee again we will end up in July going, what the hell are we doing again? Slow sports news. Well, Man United has got nothing on that. Man United take a long time. We average, 4 to 6 weeks from the start of the story being well known to a signing being done. It might be because the board look at the table, see that Ollie has got a second place with McFred, and apparently that's good enough, says Sam. Probably. Do you think the board will warn Ollie to stop talking about transfers so much because of the pressure it puts on them, says Anthony. flip it the other way, Anthony. The more Solskjaer talks about transfers, the more excited the fan base get. I think the board are more than willing to play the transfer game. I don't think the board think that they're under pressure to buy players if we're linked. I think they'll absolutely love the fact that we've been linked to Harry Kane. They will love it because it's been a positive week. I mean, the Glazer out movement, the protests, it's all gone quiet, hasn't it? I don't think it has behind the scenes. I think this thing's going on, but I think it's gone very, very quiet. I mean, the only thing that seems to be of note to anybody now is, Joel Glazer's going to sit in a chat at the start of June. Like what's going to happen in that meeting? We're not happy with you, Joel. We're going to try and do better. Let's see. End of the Glazer protest, and that's it. I saw this coming a long, long way off, and I think with the end of the season tomorrow and the transfer window upon us and the Euros, the fire of the Glazer out movement will struggle to keep burning. I do. I hope I'm wrong on that, and obviously we're united behind that. I think we are as a community as well, but I do think that the fire of it's going to go out. So I think United will love anything that detracts from that Glazer out movement. And look, Harry Kane, Man United don't need to do anything except love the interaction around Harry Kane and Manchester United. They've not said anything about coming to Man United. And amongst ourselves, many of us have said, well, I could see United doing it, but it'd be stupid. We shouldn't do it. So it's a win-win for United. You get all the exposure and positivity of being linked with a player like Harry Kane, but then your fan base works it out themselves and you don't need to do anything. You know, fans aren't going to be disappointed if we don't sign Harry Kane because most of us think it would be a waste of money to do that, and we probably aren't going to do it. But then some people are like, do it. Oh yeah, we can do it. And United just sit back and reap the benefit of all the interaction and interest. PSG beat Monaco. Also, could there be a possible CDM that has been scouted that we could end up buying on the cheap, says Lil. And hi Mark, aside from the transfers in the situation with the goalkeepers, and if United ends up selling Henderson, Romero wants to leave, who's going to be the backup goalkeeper in your thoughts, says Rashid? Well, I think we're going to bring in Tom Heaton. We'll bring in Tom Heaton. So, I think that's what's going to happen. Of course, remember tomorrow is Manchester United's last game against Wolves. So, interesting. There's a tweet just come in here from MUFC MBB who says Tuchel has revived Chelsea's interest in re-signing Declan Rice. Manchester United and Man City are also interested in Rice, but a return to Chelsea would be the player's preference were he to leave West Ham. So yeah, I'm a realist on Declan. I'm a ricist on Declan Rice. Actually, I don't like that word because it's a little bit close to a horrible word. So I'm a realist on Declan Rice. I think that Declan Rice is a player that I would love at Manchester United. I'd absolutely love Declan Rice at Manchester United. And I think it's funny because I was talking to Paul Ince about this on was it Wednesday or Tuesday? And I said, look, Paul, we brought you in your early 20s from West Ham to Man United, and you went from being a talent to one of the world's best midfielders. And Declan Rice could do that. I think Man United's a better place for Declan Rice to go. But Declan Rice ain't going to listen to me, and he's not going to listen to you. He wants to go to Chelsea, and that's the shame, isn't it? And I think if Chelsea want him, they'll get him. But if Chelsea get Declan Rice, then maybe we should be looking at what's his name, Tchouaméni, because he'd be half the price. So look, I would love Man United to sign Declan Rice, but I will say this right here: if Declan Rice goes to Chelsea, well done Chelsea. You've just got yourself a really good player. United need one. They should get Tchouaméni. They should get a CDM, the best they can get. Because I'm telling you now, I don't think we won't get Declan Rice if Chelsea want him, because that's where he wants to go. But we can't go, we wanted him and we didn't get him. We've got to get somebody. That's what you've got to do. You've got to take those setbacks and go and get something else. Hi Mark, what do you think are the changes in the team? I don't know what that means to him. Realistically, would Pau Torres, Benenka and Rafinha help us challenge the league? No, I don't think so. I think with those people, you've got too many question marks. You buy Rafinha, you buy Torres, and then you buy another midfielder that's of their talent. They're all tier 3 signings, aren't they? They're not tier 1. They're not first choice. They're all going to be third choice. Like Rafinha's not Sancho, is he? Torres ain't Varane. So I don't think that they would be enough. I think we have to get a player that is, we've got to get at least 2 priority signings in. And what I mean by priority is that we've got to get first choice signings in for Solskjaer, definitely. Ram says that Torres seems similar to Lindelof physically. I don't know about that. I don't know. I reserve judgment. I have seen Torres. I watched him play a few times last year, and I'm talking about last season. I haven't watched La Liga this season. I haven't watched Villarreal this season. Apart from little bits against Arsenal in the semi-final, I don't really think he's like Lindelof at all. I think that's just lazy to say he's like the Spanish Lindelof. There's definitely he's quicker, he's taller, he's better in the air. He's left-footed. I mean, there's that's straight away, and I think he's stronger, and we'll see that on. But let's see how he gets on against Cavani, because I think Lindelof against Cavani in training must be a massacre, because Cavani does all the things that Lindelof is terrified of, moves well, physically good in the air, strong. I bet Cavani scores hat-tricks for fun when he's against Lindelof in training. There are also a plethora of top-flight clubs, including Southampton and Brighton, all keen on Brandon Williams. So there you go. I think Brandon Williams will go on loan this summer. I'd be surprised if we sold him, although he has wasted a year of his career. Let's not be dismissive of that. Also, Leah Smith on Twitter is very good. She's saying that Man United's pursuit of Pau Torres has gone quiet. The club have not pursued the player for the last few months. The feeling inside Villarreal is much the same. The clubs are not expecting approaches until after the Europa League final and summer Euros. So there you go. It's not as advanced as some people would think. Sticking with centre-backs though, let me just talk to you about Harry Maguire. I obviously Flex did the press conference reaction yesterday where Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said he doesn't expect Maguire to be playing in the final, but he's also always said he'll give him till Tuesday night to see what happens. Just a couple of super chats before I talk about Maguire. Please smash a like on the video, by the way. Azrax says, I wish we actually bought from the French League more. Talent there is great. Badashil, Tuamini, look at Leicester, bought Fofana and now Samari. Good point. Happy birthday to Henry, says Impatient Crab. There you go. Happy birthday, Henry. And do Chelsea even need Rice? They already have Kante, Jorginho, Kovacic, Gilmour. Even Mount can play centre mid, says Roscoe. But this is what Chelsea are looking. The difference between Chelsea and Man United is that Man United are going to go into next season with holes in their first team. Chelsea are going into next season trying to make sure they've got 2 good teams like Man City, because that's what you've got to do to win these days. But look, on Harry Maguire, I think we all knew with Harry Maguire that he was never going to be fit for that final. Never. You're not walking round with ankle ligament damage and getting back fit in 2 weeks. Never going to happen. But I wouldn't rule him out playing in the final. I think that he shouldn't play the final, because if this was not a final, he wouldn't rush himself back. But it's like when Beckham did his metatarsal and he got back within 5 weeks for the World Cup. And he wasn't fit for that World Cup final, but everyone was happy he was back. I think we might see a Harry Maguire appearance in that final. He won't be fit. It'll be a huge risk. And if he gets it wrong, for me, it's not on Harry, it's on Solskjaer. I know people will say, well, Harry shouldn't play, but we've all played football, whether it's lunchtime with your mates or, a proper game, for your team. We've all played when we shouldn't play because we love the game. This is a cup final. He's the captain. He's going to do absolutely everything he can to play in that game. It's on Solskjaer to make the decision. If I'm Solskjaer and Harry Maguire says to me, I'm fit, I'm going to watch him in training. I'm going to get him training and I'm going to see what someone like Marcus Rashford and Cavani does to him. And I'm going to know. I'm going to know very quickly if he's ready. And if he's not ready, I'm going to take him aside. I'm going to put an arm around his shoulder. I'm going to get a big box of tissues. We're not going that way. I'm going to get a big box of tissues. And if he's ready to have a cry, I'm going to let him. Because I'm going to say, you're not playing, mate. You've been fantastic for us, but we'll do this again. That's what this club's about. We're going to do this again. And also, you'll be playing in the Euros. If he plays in that training session on Tuesday and he's what he was like 3 weeks ago, then I'm going to probably give it a go. But this is Solskjaer. This is Solskjaer's moment, because he's going to have to make a big decision, because I don't think Harry Maguire is going to be able to evidence that he's ready to play in that final. But if Harry says he's ready, then Ollie's got to say no. Unless we have a miracle, and I hope we do have a miracle. But ultimately, I just don't think he's going to be fit. I wish he was. I really wish he was, but I don't think he's going to be fit because I just don't think he'll be fit in that final. And also, the bad thing is, Harry Maguire's what, 6'3", 6'4"? I don't know how tall he is. He's a big unit. He's going to put pressure on that ankle. So I think we should sign Ruben Neves from Wolves because he's also a leader on the pitch, as Thomas. Mate, I'm open to other CDMs. Of course I am. Mark, you should watch Real Madrid versus Villarreal tonight at 5. It is the title deciding day, and you could also watch Villarreal before the final, says Abby. There you go. Mark, I just woke up from a bad dream that our season ended before it started with bad performance. Bruno looked defeated. We need signings, Mark, says QO. I tell you what, I'm not thinking about next season yet, but I really hope we don't have a hard start to the season. I think it's really important that we get quite a lot of teams in the bottom half. With some home games, because we'll get the home game bounce next year with the fans back in the ground. We really need to have a good start to the season. I was speaking to somebody about this the other day, and my concern is the cycle. You can almost predict that next season it's going to go wrong and Solskjaer's going to get the sack. You can almost predict that if we have a bad transfer window, Liverpool and Chelsea are going to be better. It only takes one more team to be better to push us out of top 4 completely. And that is when you can see the clear regression. And that is where the fans will get on the back of the manager. And that is where the board will react. So next season, if we follow the cycle of United's last 8 years, we'll be sacking Solskjaer. Which is why it's really important that 1, we have a really good summer, and 2, we have a really good start to the season. What swap deals would you love to see this summer? What a good question that is from Rashid. I mean, look, I'm only going to relate it to United, Rashid, but and remember, if you want to check the Romano interview, if you didn't see it last night, it's on the homepage. I've watched it twice now. Because I was so fast paced because we only had half an hour. I went through absolutely everything, and if you don't listen to it twice, you might miss something. So it was a really good interview. But what swap deals would I do? Well, the end game for me is that we end up with a top quality centre back and a top quality CDM. So they're the things I want. So I would be looking at I mean, could you do something with one of our goalkeepers for Varane? Maybe, I don't know. Would they want a Henderson or a De Gea at Real Madrid? Could we do a swap there? You know, that would be interesting. Midfield situation. Look, Jesse Lingard. Jesse Lingard's got to be a player that you can use somewhere. Whether it's Leicester, whether it's West Ham, they would love Lingard. And maybe that's an in to get a Rice or, dare I say it, an Ndidi or something like that. So, you know, I think swap deals are very difficult because we don't do them. I know a lot of people will say Anthony Martial, swap Martial for something, but Martial's on 250k a week. I don't think Martial's going to go anywhere. Koundé for Sevilla. I mean, look, Martial to Sevilla would be decent for Koundé, but I mean, then that means you're a striker short, and I know that Sevilla can't pay 250k a week, so that can't happen. Swap deals are quite easy to look at, but as Romano said yesterday, and I was talking about it at the start of the week as well with Kane, Martial earns more than Harry Kane earns. So it's difficult for Spurs to take a Martial, even though they might like him because of wages. Pogba for Varane, says Gary. Trouble with Pogba for Varane is I wouldn't say no. I think Pogba would say no, because I think Pogba will say, I ain't swapping for Madrid now, I'll go in a year's time and earn more money. And also, if Pogba goes, you need a midfielder to come in. Donny for Varane, as Real wanted Donny, says Stephen Swift. I mean, that's an interesting one. Pogba, people are going way over the top with Maguire. Even with him, our defence is shite. I believe we still have enough to win. If he misses the game, he misses the game, says Zed Jamie. I do sort of agree with Zed Jamie there. I do think people are overhyping Maguire's absence. I mean, we have missed him, but let's not forget, we've conceded a lot of crap goals this season, and Maguire's been part of that. I think, but in fairness, Zed Jamie, I also think that people are just worried that we're worse without Maguire, and I think the evidence might be there with that. Mark, if we buy Sancho, Varane and Declan Rice and we don't finish in the top 4, will it be Ollie's fault or our board's fault? Mate, if we sign Sancho, Varane and Declan Rice, I'll be over the moon. It won't happen. But if we buy Sancho, Varane and Rice and keep the players that we've got, we should challenge for the title. So if we didn't finish in the top 4, it would have to be bye-bye Ollie. Unless there was like loads and loads of injuries or whatever. But no, yeah, I mean, look, consider what you've already got. You know, we know we've got a really good goalkeeper, whichever way you look at it. We know that Maguire with Varane would massively enhance our centre-back situation and mean that we don't have to overprotect them. You've got Luke Shaw, you've got Wan-Bissaka. You've then got Declan Rice in the midfield. You can stick him next to Pogba or Van der Beek. You've got Bruno, then you've got Sancho on the right, Rashford on the left, Cavani up front. You know, you still got Greenwood, Martial on the bench or to rotate. So I would expect United to win a major trophy next season if they bought those three players. And, you know, in itself, that's encouraging but sad. Because I actually do think if you added Sancho, Varane and Rice to that United side, you would consider it to be a title contender. And in a year's time, Pogba will be gone. Maybe Bruno's got itchy feet. You know, we're going to finish second this year. We've said it before many times going into a summer transfer window, but I'll say it again. This summer will not be the summer transfer window we want it to be. And I think we're all realistic about that. But if we did have owners like Chelsea or Man City, it's not a huge outlay, is it? 3 players, it's not a huge outlay. And I think we all would sit here and go, if you retain the squad we've got, get rid of some of the deadwood and add a centre-back, a CDM and a right winger, we can fight for a title. Why would an owner of a club not do that? Now, of course, you might not get Varane, Rice and Sancho, but you might get Sancho, Koundé and, I don't know, the lad from Monaco that I mentioned. But we're 3 positions away from being a really title contending side. And this is why people want the Glazers to go, because we as fans are like, why would you not just do that? Why would you not get those 3 positions filled for the manager? Why do you always send us into a season set up to fail? And look, people can say, well, you haven't failed, you finished second. But I'm sorry, as a United fan, second place is failure. It is. Sir Alex Ferguson said this. The minute you let a bad performance be okay, you'll get more and more of them. And I think we've seen that over the last 8 years. Bad performances keep reappearing because we accept it. And we have to accept it because the team ain't good enough. You look at the start of this season, we went into it, we needed a right winger and a centre-back, and we got neither. And Solskjaer's done really, really well. But Mourinho finished second. He didn't get what he wanted. This board sends managers into seasons with no chance of winning a title. That's a disgrace for a Manchester United football club. And yet here we are sat again, knowing that a centre-back, a CDM and a right winger would give us a chance at a title, and yet we all know it won't happen. And this is the problem with these owners. They can sit down and have meetings, they can talk about improvement, but they don't bother delivering a team. And they sell it to you that they don't do it because it's really hard. It's really hard. It's not really hard. It's never been really hard. We've just had 16 years of being in debt and you taking money out the club, taking the piss, treating us like a business, treating us like mugs, and now you've shit yourself because you've realised that tap's being turned off and you need to turn it on quickly. Quick, get in a meeting. Quick, buy 1 marquee signing. 3 players, a centre-back, a CDM and a right winger, and the fans will be very happy with what Solskjaer's got, and we've got a chance next year. Anything less, we've got no chance. He will play. We're playing mind games with Emery, says Mark. I think Maguire might play, yeah. Do you think Ollie should test Victor, Eric and Axel as a 3 at the back against Wolves? Because at the moment I don't trust our defence not to concede. I don't want to see a back 3, Bradley. I don't. I think the most important thing against Villarreal, and I've said it now and I'll say it on the preview next week, if we want to win that game, Pogba's got to play in the midfield and he's got to start Rashford, Greenwood and Cavani as a front 3. I think we create more chances when Pogba's in the final 3, but we can't start McFred. Pogba's got to be in the midfield. Especially against the Spanish side, Pogba's got to be in the midfield because we will lose the midfield if we play McFred. Don't even consider Martial in the bench either, or a starter. He's gone from me because we will thrives on confidence. As Anup being a bench player means he will be low on confidence. It will make him worse. Okay. Would you rather lose the Europa League final and City lose the Champions League final, or win the Europa League final and City win the Champions League final? Says PC Deitch. Morning Mark says, Amit, I don't think with whatever signing we do this season we won't challenge for the title this year. Do you ever think we will challenge for a Premier League title? Sorry for being vague. I do think Man United can challenge for a title, but I think so much of it depends on, reform at the top. The Buccaneers team is full of future Hall of Famers, but they're okay with United having average players, says Pisco. And just on that question about the Europa League, I mean, look, it's a hypothetical. I don't really like them. But I want Man United to win the Europa League. If Man City win the Champions League, Man City win the Champions League. I'm not going to live my life, giving up on cups for United because another team might not win one. That's just bitter. I don't want Man City to win the Champions League. I hope we win the Europa League and they don't win it. But if you're telling me I've got to give up United winning the Europa League for Man City not to win it, that's just defeatist. And also, I'd say, why should I give up on the joy of Man United winning a trophy to stop Man City winning a trophy because the Glazers are shit owners? Man City are dominating English football because of the Glazers. They've done a great job, but if we'd done anywhere near our job, Man City wouldn't have won all the trophies they've won. So I don't begrudge Man City for winning the Champions League or the Premier League. I hope they don't win those trophies, but if they do, it's because of our owners, because we're not operating as a proper football club. It's a small-minded mentality when you start wishing your rivals not to win trophies. And look, I don't want them to win trophies, I really don't. But ultimately, we're wishing for it because our owners are crap. Anyway, look, thanks everyone for watching. We do have an 8 o'clock show tonight, so make sure you tune in for that. I've just realised I've just done my first show in ages without my glasses on, and I normally have to have them on because I need to read the live comments, but I've somehow managed to do it, so I'm quite proud of that. My optician won't be. Thanks everyone for watching. Please smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe, bottom right hand corner. If you haven't watched the Romano interview, it's well worth the watch. It's on the homepage. And also, big shout out to Boohoo Man Active Range. You can get yours 40% off. Links in the video description. Lots and lots of cracking activewear that you can wear. I'm actually off to do a bit of a run myself now. Links in the video description for that. Get 40% off with the code United Stand. I'll speak to you all in a bit.